Welcome to First Frets and Old Friends, the podcast where beginners learn their first chords and musical guests share the stories behind the strings. So, you finally got that guitar, but now what? Most folks never learn to play, and we've found the top 3 reasons why. 1, you don't know where to start. 2, early practice feels tedious. 3, you freeze when someone says, play us something. That's where we come in. Each episode gives you a clear, friendly path forward. No jargon, no judgment. We'll keep it fun, break down the basics, and remind you that even the greats were beginners once. This is First Frets and Old Friends, where every chord tells a story.
Well, hey there, folks. I cannot tell you how tickled I am to have you here for our very first episode of First Frets and Old Friends. I know what you may be thinking. That guy don't look right. Well, true. I do not look right, but that is only because I am a proud Avatarian. You see, Brock Whaley cannot afford to build a podcast studio in his home, so he built it here, inside the computer. Now, how about that? I do not intend to get political on this podcast, but I will say this. Anything those real people can do, us avatars can do better. Stupid reels with their realistic blinking and their lips sinking and all. Well, that's enough talking. Let's get to the doing. One good thing about first learning to play guitar is you don't have any bad habits to break. Every guitar player has bad habits. And since good habits are just as hard to break as bad ones, let's start you out with some good habits. Just some things I wish I had been told when I first started playing. Habit number 1, wash your hands. Dirty hands mean dirty strings. Dirty strings means bad sound. And it means you're going to have to replace them. Wait a minute, why am I explaining this? Just wash your hands. What would Meemaw think of them dirty, grimy, filthy hands? Number 2, posture. Yeah, I get it. You have never watched a guitar player on stage and said, hey, that guy has good posture. Well, that may be true, but when you're practicing for hours on end, if you don't have proper posture, it will catch up with you. I can testify. When you get good enough that you're playing up on that stage, you can run around and bang your head all you want to. But in the meantime, respect your instrument. If you don't know what good posture is, ask Meemaw. Number 3, your guitar pick. Lord above, I have dealt with guitar players who are very picky about their pick. And the time will come when you get good enough that you're going to know the difference between plastic and vinyl and thick and thin. And at that point, pick whatever pick works for you. But in the meantime, just pick a pick. Ain't no big deal. There are 2 rules about a pick. 1, hold it tight enough that it won't go flying off when you're playing. And 2, hold it the same way every time. Consistency defeats backstepping. Number 4, I am sorry to tell you this, but first playing guitar does hurt. It hurts your fingertips, it hurts the palm of your hand, the webbing of your hand. You're going to get pains you never expected. And the only way to get through it is to play through it. Keep in mind, pain is not the goal. If you have sharp pain, then stop playing. But anything else, you just have to play through it. And when you can play without that pain, that's your black belt, partner. You are now a guitar player. And point number 5, tunage. Just like you cannot ride a horse until you put your saddle on it, you cannot play a guitar until you tune it. If you do not tune it, it's gonna sound bad. And you don't want that. Nowadays, there's so many ways to tune a guitar. Heck, there's websites, there's downloaded apps, there's stuff you can put on your phone. Shoot, my acoustic guitar has a built-in tuner. We're going to put up on the page here a place you can go to tune your guitar. And if you hang on just a minute, we got a special offer for you. One last thing I want you to take with you before you go. Guitar playing, at its best, is a social experience. Playing with other people is how you improve technique, it's how you expand your repertoire, and it's how you get over being shy about playing. Have fun, and I'll see you at the next lesson. All right, y'all, before we can move on to the next lesson, I've got to read this copy. This is how we make money, y'all. This is an advertisement, and it says here, my name is Brock Whaley, and I am here to recommend that you use guitartuner.org for your guitar tuning needs. It is so simple, even Brock Whaley can do it. Wait, what? Does that sound right? Okay, moving on. Then it says, I hear Brock Whaley is so slow and stupid that one time he bashed up his wood grain guitar because he thought it was still in the box. That's guitartuner.org. Now wait a minute, what does my smashing guitar got to do with anything? Are they trying to be funny? That ain't funny. I know funny, and that ain't it. If you are not holding your guitar right now, go get it. Pause the video if you need to. Remember, this is your lesson. If you're struggling, if I'm going too fast, pause, rewind. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Heck, I'm not even going to know. You're not being watched. You're not being graded. If you're making mistakes, well, I sure hope so. Because if you're already as good as me, and I've been playing almost 50 years, well, that doesn't say a whole lot about me now, does it? This is lesson 2, chords, chord charts, and tabs. From this moment on, tabs and chord charts are the same thing, totally interchangeable. You don't need to know anything different about them. Chord charts are your friend. When you want to be a good guitar player, you gotta be good with chord charts. Do not be afraid of chord charts. Chord charts were invented to make your life easier, not more difficult. Without chord charts, you and I would have to look at sheet music, and then we'd both be lost. So now you're looking at a picture of a guitar. I'm gonna zoom in on the neck, and then next to that, I'm gonna place a diagram of that neck. Next to that, I'm going to squish that diagram up just so it doesn't take up so much room. And that's a chord chart. That's all it is. It's just representing the fretboard on your guitar. Now, I do not want to scare anybody off teaching a little bit of music theory, so just hang in there for the next 3 or 4 minutes. This is some stuff that, well, if you don't get it right now, in the future, you're going to look back and say, oh, that's what he was talking about, and things will start to fall in place for you. I really wish I had learned this earlier on. Take a look at this blank chord chart now. We're going to build a C chord. We're going to build a C major chord. The word chord just means you're playing 3 or more notes at the same time, and it's really kind of hard not to do that on a guitar, if you know what I mean. If we take a look at this next diagram, I want you to... Whoa, calm down. I see it. It's a complicated chart. It's got a bunch of letters on there, but this is not news. You know this. Your guitar makes notes. Those notes make music. If you want to play a C major chord or any other chord, you're going to be playing more than one note at a time. So just calm down and walk with me. You'll get it. Now, if we were looking at a piano right now, we'd be seeing some black keys. If you take a look at this chart carefully, you're going to see there are some blank spots in between frets where you do see notes, all right? Those would be black keys on the piano, right? And we don't worry about those when we're playing a C major chord because all our notes are natural, all right? They're all on the white keys. And what you see here on this chart is all of the notes that you could play on your guitar in order to stay in the key of C. Any note you see is in the key of C. But the next step in chord building when it comes to a major chord is, and take a look now, I've numbered the notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, very simple, just like in any other scale. But we want to focus on that 1, 3, and 5. And now take a look at this next chart. I've taken away every note in the scale that is not a 1, 3, and 5. So all the notes you see right now are consistent with our C chord. Now I'm going to be talking about some rules of how to build a chord here. I know this is music. Music's creative. Ain't supposed to be no rules. Ain't nobody trying to limit your creativity. Okay, we're just talking about the shorthand that different musicians use to communicate their creativity to one another so they're on the same page. That's all this is. When you start playing regular, you can play this chord any way you want to as long as it sounds good, and you'll know that. You'll know when it sounds good. When you're building a chord, what you're looking for is the lowest note that matches the letter of the chord. We're trying to play a C major. We're looking for the lowest C. If you look close, you're going to find that the lowest C in this C chord is on the second string. You've got an E on that first string when it's open, and that is in the chord, but you don't want to play it because you're trying to say, look, I'm rooting off of this letter. Everything's building off of this letter C. So what we do on the tab is we put a little X over that E, you'll see it, and it says, don't play that string. X is bad. So now, if you can, take your ring finger, place it on that third fret of that second string. That's your C. That's your root of the chord. And if you're struggling with it, well, welcome to the world of playing guitar. Everybody struggles with it. You'll get there. Just keep at it. Now you just keep working your way down. That next string, that D string, well, D is not in our chord, but E is. So you take your middle finger and press down where that E is played, all right? So now you got the C and the E. That's the 1 and the 3 on that major chord. Working your way down, that next string is a G string. Well, G is in our chord, right? It's C, E, G. So that means we can just play that string open. We're going to put a 0 at the top, which means open. O is good. X is bad. O is good. O means open. You strum it, but you don't have to fret it. Going to that next string, you see it's a B string. Same problem. B is not in the chord. We need the note that is. And on that string, it's going to be a C, which you can grab with your index finger. And that gives you the octave on that chord. You got a low C and a high C. And if you take a look at that next string is going to give you a couple of options because you can play it open, right? You can play it open because you got the E, which is in the chord. But you could also use your pinky and press down on that third fret and give yourself a G. Well, that G is also in the chord. And I sometimes play it that way. Depends on the song, depends on the feel of the song, depends on how I'm feeling when I'm playing the song. Point is, as long as it's in that chord, you can play it. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this tab. That is a tab for a C chord that you're going to find in any music that wants you to play a C chord. And you and I built it together. You just did something I could not do for the first 10 years I played guitar. And when I finally figured it out, I exploded. My guitar playing got so much better when I knew what was happening. Now it took us, about 5 minutes to build that chord? Well, the good news is, all the chords have already been built for you. We can just use the tabs from now on. Now, if we're going to play together, we got to be tuned together. I'm going to run through my strings. If you can tune off of me, that is fantastic. If you need to rewind, just go right ahead. If this isn't really working for you in terms of tuning, just go back to whatever method you applied in lesson 1. Now I'm sure you recognize that C major, that's the one we just built together. But what I've done on the right there is I've added an alternative version of the chord. Now this is how I learned to play guitar. I learned by just playing those 3 strings at the bottom. And that C, with just those 3 strings, includes all the notes of the chord. Okay? This is a very good way to get started. It's going to help you with your fingering. It's going to help you with your transitions. And you can always come back later and figure out how to grab that full chord, which sounds more like this, of course. Now I'm going to move through these pretty quickly because my agenda here is I just want you to hear what they sound like. And you can run the tape back and listen to it as many times as you want and just try to match up with what you're hearing. And on your own, you're going to practice the heck out of these. I mean, this is the deal. This is the mountain you got to climb. You got to get to where you can grab these chords without looking. You can go from one to the next without pausing. That's what a guitar player can do. So that's the C. If we go to the A, the simplified version, just the high 3 strings, is going to sound like this. And of course the full version is going to sound like this. If you're like I was when I first started playing, you're still trying to figure out where to put your fingers on that A chord, and that's fine. That's where you're supposed to be right now. That G is going to sound like this. And the full chord like this. Ain't that something? That's that acoustic guitar, man. It just grabs all the layers of the chord from top to bottom. It's really sweet. And that G chord, my friends, you're going to play a lot of G chord. That's a good guitar chord. All right, now, moving on to that E. The high end of that E sounds like this. And then the full chord. My guitar playing friends and I have a theory that whoever built the guitar built it around the E chord. Because there's so much you can do from that E. And then finally, the D chord. And if you take a look, there ain't no easy way to play that D chord. It's just the way it is. You got to grab that chord, and even if you're only playing the top 3 strings, you still got to grab it in all of the places that you need to get that chord right. And it don't sound a whole lot different when you play the full version of the chord. Because if you take a close look at that tab, you've got an X above your low E, you got an X above your A. So you're not even playing but 4 strings on that D to begin with. So, you know, if you're starting out playing 3-string chords, you're only adding 1 to get full D. All right, so you got your C, you got your A, you got your G, you got your E, and you got your D. Just practice those. When you're able to get from one chord to the next without having to pause, without having to look for it, you're way ahead of the game, my friend. Now, before we move on with the show and finish up this lesson, I want to talk a little bit about your other hand. We've been talking about your chord grabbing hand, but you've got another hand there, and after you've been playing a while, you're going to come to realize that other hand is at least as important as your chord grabbing hand. Now, when you think of that other hand, I want you to think of it in terms of rhythm. Think of it as your rhythm section. That is to say, that right hand is your drummer. And just like drummers do fancy things, playing with the beat, a little bit off beat and so forth, that's what you need to learn how to do with that right hand. And so to get you started, we're going to have a little fun. Now I've got that G tab up there, so go ahead and grab a G. You can grab the full G or the lower three strings, whatever you feel comfortable doing right now. We're going to count this together. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you hear a number, you strum down with that pick, all right? So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to start with the 1. On the 1, go down. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, try it on the 1 and the 3, and let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we do it on all 4, we get a different feel. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strumming down on the G chord. We ain't strumming up just yet. 2, 3, 4. Now, if you're going to count this out, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the in-between beat, we're going to do an and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And for our strumming, we're going down on the number, going up on the end. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 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 just practice, folks. It ain't the most beautiful song in the world. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I feel good playing my guitar, strumming up and down to the beat. And I feel good playing my guitar. Now hold on now, wait a minute. If you can play the upbeat, then try this. 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Yeah, we're cooking. Just need a little bass. There she is. Oh no, this cannot be your first time playing. You jamming now. Make you wanna dance. Make you wanna boogie. Now stick around. Got a lot more show. But just rewind if you wanna keep jamming now. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the beautiful sound of Miss Mira Driftwood. We share the meadow as the sky turns to yellow and the leaves they fall upon the ground. The willow-wisp flies by like a sparkle in my eye, and the squirrel is frightened by the sound.
the rain. It's just the rain, child. Don't be frightened by the rain. Don't be frightened by the rain. Child, it's just the rain. Don't be frightened by 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 the rain.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor and a privilege. Mira Driftwood is right here in our studio. What an honor, what a privilege to have not just a talented musician, but a musician that I think is representative of an era in popular music that came and went, I think, a little too quickly, but nevertheless, if you take a look, if you take a listen to folk music, and you look at those chords that go with that music, it's an opportunity, I think, for any guitar player, particularly a beginning guitar player, to clearly hear the chords of the guitar and how those same exact chords can be found in your country, in your rock and roll, in your blues, in your pop, and of course, once you get into your blues, you're getting into your R&B, your rhythm and blues, okay? And if you look at, say, your 70s, your disco, as odd as it sounds, that's rooted in the R&B, which is rooted in the blues, which is rooted in these chords that you find so common throughout. My point being that when you're learning guitar early on, you're learning these chords. If you're learning folk music chords, then you're learning chords that can be used in any other style of music. And so that's why among all the different genres, I really wanted to have a folk musician here who could explain how this crossover, this Venn diagram, as it were, the Venn diagram of music, it all crisscrosses over the same basic chords. No matter what music you want to play down the road, at this beginning stage of learning, these chords you're learning with me are going to pave the way to whatever style of music you're drawn to, the kind of music you want to play. Miss Driftwood?
Well, thank you for having me, dear. What was the question?
Well, I suppose the question I have is, do you think that the guitar in folk music provides a bridge to other types of music?
Well, I wouldn't know, dear. I never played guitar.
Wait, what? But the album cover and the photo we have of you playing at the public festival, what was that? You're holding a guitar?
The only instrument I have ever played is the hash kazoo, if you know what I mean. And I only took that up recently.
Well, maybe you just don't remember playing. Didn't all you 1960s musicians do drugs and all?
No, dear, we never did drugs. We couldn't afford drugs. And when we asked the other musicians what it was like getting high, it sounded rather like we felt when we ran out of money and went without food for a few days.
You're telling me that you were getting high by not eating?
Oh, the places we would go. Of course, all of that inspiration was lost because I was too weak to lift a pencil.
Miss Driftwood? Mira? Honey? That ain't right.
Oh, sure, and I suppose you have never gotten high. You sound like those squares from the Red Cross who would hand out cookies and ruin our high.
Well, thank goodness for the Red Cross. And thank you for being here, Miss Mira Driftwood, and sharing some time on our very first podcast.
It's called a broadcast, dear. You keep saying podcast. It is pronounced broadcast.
Well, no, ma'am. It's definitely a podcast. People can see you. There's the camera right there.
Oh, dear. I wish I had known. I would have freshened up.
Would you like to say something before we go?
Yes. I just want your viewers to remember this. The next time you hear someone play and you say to yourself, I will never be that good. It is true. You will never be that good, but only because music is not a competition. The only person you need to be better than is you yesterday.
All right, this is lesson 3, video 1. Practice. These are things I want you working on before you go to the next video. First thing I want you to look at is this blank chord chart or tab. Now I'm going to put one up here. It looks kind of complicated. That's because it's not a chord, it's a scale. Obviously, from the looks of it, you're not going to be playing all those notes at the same time. This is a scale, meaning you're going to play them one at a time. Now, scales are great practice, but you have to do them right. So take a look to the right of the chart and you'll see that I've lined up a finger with each fret. So if you're going to play a note in that fret, I want you to use that finger as you move up. So any note you see in that second fret, use your index finger, third fret, middle finger, and so on. If you do it right, it's really going to improve your technique. It should end up sounding something like this. Now this ain't no race, and it sure ain't no competition. Do it at whatever rate you feel comfortable doing, fast or slow. In fact, you're going to notice that if you keep doing this, you're going to get real fast, real quick. Neat thing about playing scales on a guitar is you just change where you start and you changed your key. Take a look at those notes on the left side. I've labeled each of the frets on the low E string, right? So as you move up, if you take a look, that very next fret up higher is a G sharp. You play that exact same scale starting on the G sharp. Now you're playing a G sharp scale. And if you move up again to the A, now you're playing an A major scale. You can keep going right up the fretboard or right down the fretboard. In fact, just as soon as you're able to play that scale up and down without looking to see where you're supposed to put that finger, as soon as you get comfortable, that's what you're going to do in practice. You're going to move right up and down that fretboard. You're going to play a major scale in G, then you're going to move up the fretboard to G sharp and play the whole scale again. And you're going to go up just as high as you can, and then you're going to work your way back down, playing all the notes in the scale. Okay, now we're going to come back to that, but right now I want you to take a look. These are the chords we've learned so far. We've learned the C, the A, the G, the E, and the D. You'll notice there's a couple of chords missing. There's no F and there's no B. Now the reason for that is To play the F or the B, you have to be able to bar. B-A-R-R-E. You have to be able to bar, and that just means holding down more than one string with one finger. This will blow your mind, but when you get good at guitar, you're going to be able to hold down all 6 of your strings with just one finger. But right now, we're just going to look at the F chord. We'll come back to the B, but right now we're going to look at that F. Now, if you take a look at this tab for the F major chord, they want you to hold down that high E and that high B on the first fret with just one finger. In this case, you need to use that index finger because that'll free up the rest of your fingers to play the rest of that chord. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is tough. This is a bear. When I first learned this F chord, I was already playing all the other chords and I was moving between them. I was doing my progressions and I was doing my transitions. I could not get to that F chord. Holding down 2 frets with one finger just felt unnatural to me. Now, shoot, it's as natural as the day is long. And let me just address one thing while we're at it real quick. You might notice I don't always tell you what finger to use where. Well, that's because you don't always use the same finger to make the same chord. Think of it this way. Sometimes the chord leading in or the chord coming out of the one you're trying to play just doesn't work with a particular fingering. The very first song I learned all the way through was Take It Easy by the Eagles. And if you ever learn that song, you're going to see you cannot play a G chord the way you're normally taught how to play it and be able to play the rest of that song. It's just the way it's written. So what I'd like you to do is, if you're wondering which finger to use where, just grab whatever's comfortable. Shoot, 99% of the time, that's how it's meant anyway. It's supposed to be the easiest way to grab the chord. Now, just like with everything else I've been teaching you, I want you to put this into your practice routine. But if you're struggling with it, come back to it. There's no point wasting all your time trying to do something you can't do when you could be doing things you can do, which are going to make your can't do easier to do. Avoid the can't do and do the do, if you get my meaning. Now let me tell you why I'm such a big fan of this F major chord and why I'm probably teaching it to you a little bit early. Once you master that F chord, once you're able to play it without any buzzing or twanging, you can play any major chord. Think about it. If you can play an F and then you just slide all your fingers up to that next fret up, well, now you're in the F sharp position. You're playing an F sharp. And if you slide them all up one more fret, well, now you're in the G position. You're playing a G major. You can go G sharp, A, all the way up. In fact, the first guy I ever played with, this was the only chord he knew. He only knew an F major, and he'd just play it everywhere. That guy's hand would shoot all over that fretboard. And then I came along and I said, listen, man, you know, there's an alternative to this, and that's the B chord, which we're going to look at now. Now look at that thing. You got to be kidding me. For a beginning guitar player to grab that B, they're not asking you just to bar. They're asking you to bar with your index finger and your ring finger. Take a look at the picture. All right? And the chart's a bit misleading just because of the way it has to be written. They're showing you 2 different bar positions, or they're trying to. I don't even want you trying this B unless you just have nothing else to practice. But I'm showing it to you because I want you to notice a little something. Take a look at this A chord. Now let's look again at that B. Now it took me a while to notice this. Maybe you're smarter than I am and can notice it quicker, but that B ain't nothing but an A moved up 2 fret positions. And it's the exact same trick we're doing with that F chord. If I move that B up 1 fret, I'm playing a C. And I move it up 1 more fret, I'm playing a C sharp up to the D, so on and so forth. So you can just imagine how thrilled my friend was when he found out that he doesn't have to shift all over the fretboard to play that F chord in different positions. Now I'm going to give you an example, and you're going to get this because you're starting to get a little more sophisticated in your understanding. If you have to look at the chart, go right ahead. But my friend wanted to play a G. He'd grab the F, right? But he'd play it in the third position. He'd slide it up 2 frets. That gives you a G chord. Shoot, I play G chord like that all the time. But in order to play a C, let's say the next chord's a C, which was happening all the time. G and C go together all the time. He'd have to go all the way to the 8th fret, holding his fingers in that same position. And this is what he'd do all the time. I mean, this is how he played. And I don't care how good a guitar player you are, that's a long trip from that 3rd fret to that 8th fret. This is why I wanted to show you that B, because if you can play the B, slide it up 1 fret, now you're playing a C, but you're playing it in the 3rd position. So now that same guitar player is going from G to C in the same place on that 3rd fret. Now this is what advanced guitar players do all the time. They're just looking for different places to play the same chords. This is why I want you to know how to build a chord, because you will be doing this. Okay, now let's take a look at where we're at with our practice routine. You're going to play C, A, G, E, and D chords until it's second nature, man. You've got to be able to grab them chords without looking, without pausing. You just grab it natural, okay? And it'll come. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can do it, promise. Now, I also want you to try that F, okay? Work that into your rotation. When you're starting to get real good with them other chords, try that F. You can get that F down before the next video. That's going to help out a lot. That B, treat the B like a bonus. I mean, if you can get through the others, and you're looking for a new challenge, and you can double bar that B, my goodness, you're going to be way ahead of where I was. Now, as far as the scale, I taught you that major scale because there's just a big difference between picking one note at a time and strumming. And you're going to start to notice that real double quick. Now, on that scale, at first I just want you to be able to play it. And this ain't about do, re, mi, fa, so whatever, okay? This is about getting your fingers limbered up, being able to spread them further apart, being able to strengthen that grip hand, that chord hand, okay? But the other hand's important too. In the beginning, just pick down. Whatever's easiest, pick down is usually easiest, just pick down. But then as you start getting that scale down, I want you to start alternating your pick stroke. Down, up, down, up. Picking up, there's a trick to it. You're going to notice it just feels different. It doesn't always feel natural, but keep at it. If you can get that down, again, you're going to be more than ready for that next lesson. Now, working the chords, working that major scale. I'm going to teach you another scale just so as we can have a little fun before we go. This is called a pentatonic scale, penta 5, like, you know, pentagon or something else with 5 in it. Anyway, tonic, pentatonic, tonic means tone, 5 tones, 5 pitches. Pentatonic has 5. If you look at the scale here, you're going to see more than 5, but that's only because I'm repeating the scale once I hit the octave, okay? Now, if you play this scale, it should sound like this. Now that gives you something else to work on along with your major scale and your chords, but that pentatonic scale is also known as a blues scale. So I want you to listen to something. I'm going to play that scale with this piece of music. Now that was the exact same scale, played the exact same way. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of distortion to my guitar, just a little, and a little echo, and I'm gonna play that scale, but I'm gonna have a little fun with it. Now notice, I don't do anything fancy. I'm playing all the notes on the scale, just not in the same order. Now tell me that don't get your toes tapping. All right, what I've done next here is I've taken that same piece of music, just looped it a couple of times. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna play that pentatonic scale. Hit any note you want, anytime you want, as long as it's on that scale, it's gonna sound pretty good. Well, that ain't bad for one video and 3 little lessons. You can run that back, loop it if you want to, just have some fun. It really, really is good practice. Now let's take a look at our practice routine here. We're gonna make sure we're gonna run them chords, make sure we're getting our fingering right, get to where we don't have to look at the tab to know the chord. We're not gonna pause between chords. We're going to try to work on that F chord. We don't have to master it, but if we can get that barring down, we're doing good. Take a look at that B chord if you can pull it off. If you can't, don't worry about that. Please don't get frustrated. Don't let it discourage you. That B is, my goodness, that's way down the line. And if you can get it, great. That's fantastic. But if you can't, let it go. Make sure you work on your scales. Those scales are great for technique. They're great for just limbering up the fingers. You'll be again amazed how quickly you can start to do them better and better. You got your major and your pentatonic. As far as strumming goes, well, shoot, if you're working on your chords, you're working on your strumming. But do keep in mind what we talked about. You're gonna get that beat, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When you hear the number, that's the down beat, all right? You're stroking down. When you hear the end, that's the in-between beat, you're stroking up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. What was the one we did in the lesson, wasn't it? Down, 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 up, down, up. Try different variations on that. But see, you're a musician now, and musicians don't hear music the way other people do. You're gonna start to notice how songs might use the same chord, but the rhythm is what makes the song. It doesn't really matter what chords you play nearly as much as the rhythm that establishes the feel of the song. And for you, rhythm is that right hand. Rhythm is that strumming hand. So this is going to become very critical in your playing. When you hear a song from now on, pick up on that rhythm and see if you can translate that to your guitar playing. It's going to make you a lot better. And of course, number 5, which really, you can include number 5 in all of these, always have fun. Guitar playing is supposed to be fun. So stick around, we still got a little bit of show left, and we got a couple more tips to help you out with number 5 on your practice routine. I want to thank you all so much for hanging in there, standing witness to our very first episode of First Frets and Old Friends. Special thank you to Miss Mira Driftwood. I'm so grateful for her coming all the way out here. She couldn't get out of here fast enough. She's already on her way back to Kauai. The show went a little long, but that's only because I was trying to think of everything that I wish I had learned early on that would have made things easier as I progressed, while at the same time giving you enough that you could really get some good practice in. And it just seemed like no matter where I went with the lesson, I started thinking, well, shoot, they need to know this other thing before they can really understand that. And once that domino falls, oh my goodness, it just kind of keeps going. So I hope you understand that's why it was so long. What I've done here now is I put together a little practice sheet. This is a reference sheet for you to look at when you're practicing, and I've put together a little song. Now, anyone else that hears this song is going to think, what a mess, what the heck are you listening to? But you're not going to react like that because you're going to hear the chord progression. You're going to hear the C, A, G, E, D chord progression. And then you're also going to hear your major scale and your pentatonic scale mixed in. And so if you can just play along with it, either with the chords or with the scales, it's good practice. And those of you that go out and buy a tab or download a tab or some music off the computer, and then you try to play along, say with a favorite CD or, I don't know, with a radio, whatever it is, you're going to find that it doesn't always match up. That ain't because of you, and that ain't because of the people publishing the tabs. That comes from the fact that when artists record songs, sometimes they run the song through filters so it sounds better, and that can affect the key of the song. And so here you are playing all the right chords in all the right way, but it just doesn't line up correctly. Don't let that discourage you. That ain't you. That's just modern music, my friend. You can find other versions of the song perhaps online. Maybe go to YouTube, listen to people playing it just with the acoustic. Because if you have a favorite song you want to learn to play and you can find it somewhere like that, my goodness, I wish I could have done that early on, and that's wonderful practice. That's going to make you a much better player, and I certainly do encourage you to do that. But just like I said, if it don't sound right, it ain't you. It ain't you. That's just the recording. Now, I'm going to put up this reference sheet, and I'm just going to play out with this song I put together. As always, you can run it back. You can loop it if you like, play along with it, play those chords, and play those scales. And thanks again, and enjoy.